Welcome to Croatia.
I am here.
We had a lovely little bus ride from Venice to Croatia.
It was super easy.
Like 6 hours.
There was a toilet on the bus.
There was a toilet on the bus. It was really nice. And there was these like lovely little villages and stuff out the window, like in this rainy little day that they had. And
yeah, great day for transport when it's raining. Rain all you want, world. I'm on a bus.
And we got to Zagreb, and we have basically an Airbnb here. And we met this amazing lady, and she let us and showed us around, and let us in and showed us around to the Airbnb, and that's all very wonderful. And she gave us a direction to walk in to find food, and
we're walking in that direction. But you know what I care about more? What do you know / think about Croatia?
I know
prior to anything that you've seen right now.
I know very, very little about Croatia, and that's the reason I wanted to come here.
Yeah.
I love coming to places we know nothing about and exploring them. So that's what we're gonna do. And I don't know how long we're even going to be in Croatia, a couple of weeks at the very least.
Yeah.
And then we'll know more about it then.
3 nights in Zagreb.
Yep, 3 nights. And we've heard there isn't a whole lot to do in the city, so that we figured 3 nights was a good way to start it, and then we'll move on. I don't even know where we're going. Yeah. Do you know where we're going?
I have a little bit of an idea. That's my job.
All right, let's find some food now. We walked about 10 minutes from our Airbnb into what seems to be kind of a central part of the city. So that's cool, we're really close to like where the action's happening. And we found a little sandwich shop that is open. It's a little late right now, it's like maybe around 9:30, 10 o'clock. So we were a little worried, like how late are things gonna be open? You never know like what the scene is gonna be like, but it seems like there's quite a few restaurants open, and we did stumble across a little sandwich shop that is doing sandwiches in traditional types of bread and also in pitas. And I grabbed a pita. And I'm not even really sure what's in here. The only reason I ordered it is because on the menu, it said something about it being like their classic or something like that. Like this is like the thing to get. So I was like, all right, I'll get the thing to get. And it is got some vegetables in it and looks like some ham. And he put some sauce on there. They ask you like how you want it done. Like when you go to Subway, like what do you want your toppings to be? And I was just like, just make it however you make it. And he was pretty excited about this white sauce that he slammed on, and he said it's homemade. You should, he's like, it's homemade. He like really lathered it on. And so this is like basically how the chef recommends. It's a pretty tasty sandwich. It's a pretty tasty sandwich. There's a lot of tomatoes on there. There's a lot of tomato flavor going on. And the ham has got a good salt, and the bread is like a good consistency and everything. I mean, it's a sandwich. I mean, how much can you say? It's just a really good one. And the first thing that struck us here is that the prices, after being in Sweden, Copenhagen, the UK, and then Italy wasn't so bad, but in all those countries that come here, the prices are much more affordable. Like this guy was only about 4 USD, so I can hang with that. Katie grabbed something a little bit different in the pita, but some different fillings.
Fried turkey. I've never seen this. And I'm a turkey fan. Like, I love turkey. It's like, you know that crappy chicken finger I was looking for? Okay, when you were like younger, you go to the bowling alley, and the bowling alley doesn't have very good chicken fingers, and you fall in love with how crappy it is, and you really, really, like, when I went back home, I just craved these chicken fingers, and that's good. The quality of the meat inside, like the turkeyness, it's different than chicken, but the breading on the outside, you can just tell, like, this is not like top quality of the deep fried foods.
So it's like a nostalgic thing for you?
Yeah, that was incredible. It was like taking two things that I love that I never knew were together.
Nice.
I think he slathered on more sauce on mine than he did on yours.
Was it the same sauce?
Yeah, I said put your sauce on. Fantastic. We have not eaten since around 12 o'clock earlier. I ate some leaves on the ride, but we haven't had a meal, so this is good. We've come to the central main open air part of Zagreb, And there's a little market going on here. And obviously we went straight to the one that shows the cannabis leaf because when you're going to new countries and things, you don't understand what the rules are or whether things are legal or illegal. So we immediately looked up whether pot was illegal here, and it is illegal here, but ladies got weed on their flags. So I just went up and was like, what is this? And it turns out that it's hemp. And they're just kind of selling biscuits that don't taste very good. They have honey that tastes like honey. It just tastes like bees. Bees did a good job, not hemp. So don't get swindled by this. It is not, it's just hemp. We've climbed to a high point here. There's a very popular tower. I'm not pronouncing a lot of these names because I have no idea the pronunciation.
There's like dashes on the letters and stuff that we don't have any idea even what to start doing with.
Yeah, so we're at a tower that has a cannon, and at noon every day they shoot it off, and we're kind of a big fan of random cannons that get shot off every day.
This is the one where we read someplace where they shoot it off so that they can synchronize the
Yeah, they synchronize
back in the day,
churches.
the churches would synchronize their clocks with the cannon going off, which is pretty cool. And we wandered through a little market, and strawberries are in season apparently, because everybody there is selling strawberries.
To cannons in Croatia.
To cannons in Croatia. Strawberries are good.
We just heard a tour guide saying that they shot off this cannon and it scared away an army, and I don't know exactly what the situation was, but that was a really, really big boom.
It was way louder than I thought it was.
Intense.
And it shoots off over you, I think, like over the crowd of people watching, and there's like something about that that's even like more dramatic.
Yeah, it's at us. We are the army.
Oh my god, I really have got to go to the bathroom like ridiculously bad, and like it is now notched up to like super emergency.
St. Mark's Church is pretty cool.
Yes. Up on the hill where we watched the noonday gun go off, they have got kind of like a old school, like kind of the touristy area, but it feels like the old city
old
type
town,
of thing,
yeah.
the old town type of thing with the cobblestone streets and all those things.
Once
and
cobblestones are introduced, you're like back in the day. Why people would never replace cobblestones? Never. Old people.
Kinda nice.
Old things. Antique.
You don't like it?
No. It's
I mean,
not that I don't
if you're
like
a rollerblader, it's a problem. But I mean, you know,
just don't rollerblade around here.
Rollerblade.
But it seems like it's difficult for the people who have to exist in that. Like you see people moving carts and moving trucks and things like that, and they've got to push and.
It's much more aesthetically pleasing than asphalt, though. It does look nice. And it sounds nice when cars drive on it. That noise is pretty nice. But there's a lot of tour groups up here and stuff, so this is definitely kind of the touristy area of the city. And in a big open square that they've got two things that are really quite noteworthy. The first thing is sitting right behind us, and it is a church. And what did you say it was called?
St. Mark's Church.
St. Mark's Church. And it is unique in a way I've never seen before from a church. The roof has got these amazing tiles on it that
Looks
have
like
got
little pebbles just sitting on top of the roof. Like they've been glued into place perfectly.
Yeah, it's a type of colorful that you don't normally see on a church. It reminds me of like what are those gingerbread house or something. Like they put like gumdrops on it, and they made it like really cool looking. And the two symbols that have been put onto the roof. One is
the
like
left side is Croatia. Dalmatia.
Different areas of Croatia.
Dalmatia and Slavonia.
Yeah.
And it's their
coat of arms.
Coat of arms.
Yeah.
And the one that's in the top right hand side with the animals, it's either foxes or bears. I don't know what it is, but I believe it is either foxes or bears because that's what I want.
And the other coat of arms
was
for
Zagreb, for the city.
Yeah. Really, just a really cool looking little church, and the rest of it doesn't stand out in a tradition like an explosive way or anything, but that roof is really doing it for me.
Yeah.
And if you rotate...
It feels weirdly Dutch. I don't know how to explain, but like when I think of like Dutch buildings, I think of colorful little buildings and things like that. So that's
who are the Dutch? And then if we rotate a little bit like this, there's a balcony on that building that is where in 1918 they had declared independence from the Hungarians. Austria. Austria. Australia. Close. And that's where they had done that. So that's also a very important building and place specifically for the people here in Croatia.
I just can't imagine somebody getting out on that balcony and being like, we are we.
Yeah.
Point blank, end game. Can you imagine like all the people standing out here that are we? Ah, that's really cool. Sometimes you see shrines or churches and things like that, and you can go into them and it just feels like that's the place that is supposed to be happening. What we have just encountered is the place where that's not supposed to be happening, but for some reason it is. This is the stone gate that goes into kind of the older area of Zagreb, and inside the gate, which goes kind of underground, it's a little bit of a tunnel. There are pews and an area to light candles, and it's a very, very small, it feels like a pop-up shop for prayer that started like a long time ago, and it's just still been going. It got popular, people liked this pop-up shop, and it just kept going. And there's actually people in there, don't necessarily know if they were praying or if they were just relaxing and taking in the situation, because it is strange to just have pews on the street. And so people are going there and they're doing their prayer. Outside of that, there is a statue that Eric really likes about this girl named Dora. And she used to live near the stone gate, and she's just kind of an elegant figure who apparently was in a book that we have not read, obviously. We just learned about Dora, but she's an elegant lady. And this is something that I didn't expect to see at all. And if I hadn't come down like just this little corridor here, we wouldn't have gotten to see this oddity of prayer and beauty.
The reason this little area became important is because back in the day there was a big fire in the city and this area burned down. And the story goes that the only thing that survived was this painting of the Virgin Mary, which is encased back here behind me, and it's got some gates around it so you can't get up there and touch it and stuff, because it's very important to these people. Important to the point where they built this, it's not a shrine exactly, but it's almost like a little church that's outside in this little cavern. And that's what's going on here, is people are coming here to pay their respects to this Virgin Mary, and all these plaques that are on the walls around here, like these are prayers and thank yous to the Virgin Mary. So that story is why this whole thing exists. And I don't think this is something I've come across before. like in Asia and stuff, you see little shrines and stuff all over the place, but this is almost like an outdoor Christian shrine. I'm fascinated. This is very cool. I could sit here and check this out for quite a while. Actually, I think I've been here for quite a while already. Katie's shaking her head. Yeah, it's been a while.
They smell really good.
The little parks that they have overlooking the city are pretty magical. Lots of benches, really nice view, nice breeze. It's like perfect out right now.
People be scared during World War II. People make bridges. People be scared during World War II. People make tunnels. We're going in. What you couldn't see back there was a side tunnel to the tunnel. 3 Croatian dudes in there smoking cigarettes. Really felt like it might be of the times, like being in the tunnel and when it was built. You guys are just down here smoking cigarettes going, well, fuck it.
In addition to be like a historical place because of the World War II aspect of this tunnel, we've got a guidebook, and the guidebook mentions that a legendary rave took place here in 1993. Like, those are the things it mentions. Like hiding from World War II, and also there was a hell of a party.
Yeah, and that would be very, very cool. I think if somebody told me there are these tunnels and people are having a rave in it, I'd be like, we're going, right?
I'm assuming like music like pounding through here.
Uh-huh.
Like, can you just listen? Imagine.
That was as big as the cannon.
Yeah. Imagine what this would be like with a huge party going on. It'd be really nuts.
It's spacious up here.
Oh yeah, it's opening up.
The Hobbit, where he goes in that place and that big spider comes out. These like wires up here, I'm starting to feel like some giant spiders coming out.
Man, we're being obnoxious and making a whole bunch of noise, like that kind of stuff. And I think you would need nothing more than like a cell phone speaker to have like a proper bump and rave in this little cave.
Yeah, it's true.
I found Katie in old age kind of deciding that Zagreb is a pretty beautiful place. A lot of the way everything looks is really nice. People drive a little crazy.
Honestly, we've already talked about that several times this morning.
Like you're crossing the road, you be careful, otherwise you can get mowed down.
Yeah.
It's not ridiculous, but it's a little bit aggressive. But they've, in addition to the church that we saw earlier that was quite unique looking, they have a stunning looking but kind of typical looking cathedral as well that you can go inside, and it's stunning looking inside but looks kind of like all the other cathedrals I've ever been in.
The one thing that I liked on the inside is that they had put like gold dots, and when the light hit certain areas it looked like stars.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
But they weren't all over the sky inside, like the ceiling. So it was...
Was that coming through the windows or something?
Yeah, light was coming through the windows and it would catch it almost like you could feel the world turning in that way. You know how the world turns and then you get to see the stars once the sun's out of the way? Like that's what it felt like. You could feel the world turning inside the building.
Oh, neat. I didn't notice.
These are the stars I was talking about.
People here like to eat outside, and we're eating outside, and it's perfect out here. So it's a pretty wonderful, like, open air experience. We've come to a restaurant that is kind of famous for serving something that is very traditional to Croatia, and it's something we actually had to come by 2 hours ago to order, and it'll be coming out soon. But we are starting off with something called Doughnuts. And we were like, donuts don't seem like they're gonna be the starter, but in this case they are the starter, and they are actually donut the holes. I don't even really know how to eat them. I'm just gonna pick this up and kind of put it on my fork and pretend like I know what I'm doing. So it's like a deep fried ball of something of which we know nothing of. And I am just going to cut into it here. And that's how I feel like I should do this. It feels weird to just like plop it in your mouth like that. So I've now cut a donut and now eating it off a fork, and now I feel weird about it. The inside just looks like it's dough. It doesn't look like there was anything on the inside, no meats or anything hiding or anything. It's pretty much a donut. The big surprise is that it tastes just like a non-sweet donut. It's heavier than Krispy Kreme, but if you took a Krispy Kreme donut and you removed all of the sweetness, that's kind of like what you're working with there. It also came with a couple of cheeses, so I'm going to try one of the cheeses. This one looks a little bit harder, a little bit more formed. I don't know hardly anything about cheese, so I'm not even going to begin to try to explain what like family of cheese it is. It's a medium cheese. It's not a mild cheese. It's not a really heavy, strong flavored cheese. But yeah, I mean it's good. I like it. And then this one is a little bit wetter.
And it said both of these are homemade.
Both cheeses are homemade, yeah. Ooh. I really like the second one. I'm wondering if you're supposed to be putting some cheese and the donut like together, because that felt like it was going to be a good combination. Maybe you're not supposed to do this. I don't know. There's no instructions.
They did come on the same plate. Some clues have been provided.
Yeah, that's pretty tasty. We also have something else that may be a little more adventurous.
It's not on the same plate, so I don't think you put the cheese in it. But Radhika is, I think, what it's called. That's just crappy pronunciation as usual. But we read that Radhika is kind of a brandy-esque type alcohol that is usually served with meals that I guess they have out at restaurants, and people will order one before their meal. It was on the front of the menu. This is before you think about food, you think about Radhika. And I got a plum, which we're gonna probably compare quite a bit to umeshu. And then we also got a walnut. And I just thought that walnut was a very strange choice to go with. You gonna be able to shoot this?
And,
you wanna go,
yeah.
Go plum.
Go plum.
I'll go walnut.
And the story here is that this is supposed to be 40% alcohol.
It smells fantastic.
Don't drink the whole thing. I want to taste the walnut too. I know you like to chug things like this. All right, are you ready? What are we doing this to?
To slow cooked meat.
Because that's what we're waiting for. Yeah. Oh, it's really, really burny. Really strong. Really bitter and strong.
If mahogany had a flavor. Oh my god. Eric Klein, that one's really good.
Whoa. It's like jet fuel, that one.
Yes, that is like jet fuel.
Oh, this smells like, it smells like...
If mahogany had a flavor.
Yeah, no, it smells like syrup.
Yeah.
Like straight up. Oof. Did you see how that plant that I was getting in the shot?
Yeah. It's like voyeurism.
Woo! The walnut one is much better.
The plum is a disappointment. I thought that it would be kind of sweet.
It's just like that's gonna you put jet fuel.
I need to put a donut on that. We don't spend a whole lot of money, but when we do, we go big. Lots of meat, lots of potatoes. This is pekka. And pekka is a slow-cooked meat dish that is cooked with an iron lid. I don't even know what this contraption looks like. I just know that it is Croatian and that you have to book your table or your meal 2 hours ahead of time because it needs at least 2 hours to cook. And we booked it 2 hours ahead of time. And when we got here, he was like, you might want something to eat while you wait. I definitely don't want to rush this meal in any way, shape, or form, so we got the donuts. Yeah, that's what you do. This is astounding, and they said that it's for 2 people. I look at this, and I see at least 3 to 4 people's worth of food, but I'm going to eat it. All of it. I can't even express the aroma that is coming out of this. Just 2 hours of somebody hugging a pig. They're just sweetly hugging a pig for 2 hours.
Eat the pig, dude.
It's good. Hold on. Is veal pig? Veal's not pig. It says veal. It says veal, but it looks like pig to me.
It really does look like pork.
This shade of brown is pork to me.
Not anymore, it's not.
Yeah, well, I guess we're gonna find out. I guess this shade of gray is not pig to me. Okay, menu said veal. That's all right. And, I mean, now we just jump in. Eric asked the guy, is there a special way to eat this? And the guy said, yes. And then Eric asked, can you show me how? And he said, you put it on the plate. And it wasn't a joke. Like, it was, that's what you do. So we got some meat, got a little bit of fat. I can say that in the caliber of things, in the future, the meat here will be weighed against that. And it's kyde caliber. I like a dry meat. Like, it doesn't need to be completely succulent or anything like that. I like a dry meat, and I like a flavorful meat, and this is definitely both of those. I also want to try the potato, because that got cooked for the 2 hours as well. You're right. Well, you're supposed to put the potato in the oven for like 4 hours, like before you want to eat it. Wow.
Does the potato encompass the meat flavor?
Oh yeah. You know what would make drive this over the top? If these onions had been cooked in there for that time. Maybe not these purple onions, but like bigger onions.
Like that guy right there?
Oh, there's a pepper in here too. Eric Klein. I don't even know how to express how good this is. We can sit there and go, that's good. This is great. I like this. It's past that. It's way past that. Somebody would tell you I'd come back and I'd have this dish if I was away from Croatia for a really long time. And it's justified. The price is really justified. As Ed said, I don't know if I said the price, 200 kuna for 2 people. That's about $36. And when we eat out, we try to keep it under $20. But I said to myself, this is something you can't have anywhere else. I've never heard of this meal. I've never thought of this meal. And right now, feeling like it's totally worth it.
A couple days ago, we were in Venice, and I had mentioned that we don't really ever go to museums, and we broke our rule today, and we went to.
Hold on. This isn't one. It's not a rule. We don't have some sort of weird museum rule. Just we tend not to go into museums because 1, they cost money, and 2, most of them are about like art or it's oversaturation of a topic.
Okay.
So like that's kind of my big thing about not going to museums. Like it's nice to see a painting or a couple of good paintings, but 2,000 of paintings.
It's yeah, and painting isn't our thing. You know?
Painting's not our thing, but I mean, like, say we go to something that's our thing. Okay, like we went to Tokyo Game Show.
It does get old.
It gets old.
It does get old, you're right.
Museum. I mean, that's an interactive thing. Anywho.
Today we went to a museum, and the reason that we went is because it is something that is very unique and something that I've never even would have considered to make a museum, and it is called the Museum of Broken Relationships.
And when I heard the name and I pieced kind of together the idea of it, it's such a good idea.
It is quite a good idea. The concept is that random people are able to donate to this museum something that is symbolic, perhaps, of a relationship that they had, or something that was part of the breakup, or something that just has something to do with the relationship that they had that ended. And the relationship could have, and most of the relationships ended because of heartbreak, but some of them ended because of death.
And some of them ended amicably.
Yeah, and some people, sometimes they were like
a minority.
Some of them said like, oh, we were
still good
friends, and we go to coffee and blah blah blah. And so the way that it's set up is that they've just got all of these objects, and then they've got a explanation written in both Croatian and in English of what the person had said or what had written when they donated the object. So it's like the story of the broken relationship, and it tells you how long they were together, and it tells you where they're from. So you get all that information, and you go just from one to another, reading story after story after story of broken relationships.
And as I said about museums, there is oversaturation, and it got oversaturated.
I think it was fairly well length. The length was fairly well done.
The number of exhibits was good.
Mm-hmm.
I would say some of them, not all of them, maybe 2 or 3. I stopped reading in the middle.
Yeah, there were a few that got really poetic, and it wasn't grounded in reality enough for me to be interested in it.
But that's who we are as people.
Yeah, but a lot of them were just like, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. And I found it interesting in like a voyeuristic way, in a way. Like you got to look into a part of people that you don't normally get to look into. And you got to see that this was kind of therapeutic for a lot of people. Like, okay, I'm getting rid of this thing because it's helping me let go of like what I've been holding on to. And
there was one, and I don't want to tell too many stories, but there are relationships that people have out there that are not generally accepted by society. And if it ends or it's destroyed or something changes in that relationship, those people who their relationship is not supported by society don't have any way or any outlet to express themselves or feel accepted.
infidelity or
by
something
others.
like that.
Yeah, they don't have this support network that a lot of people have for your traditional regular relationships. So this was an interesting outlet in that way.
Going along those lines, like the museum explains there's this big wall with some like an introduction when you first walk in, and they're talking about how like you have funerals to like deal with death, and you have like graduation
Marriages
ceremonies and marriages and all these things, but like a huge emotional thing that people go through is relationships ending, and there's no way to celebrate that or to cope with that. And that this was partially something that they wanted to make to like have a place for that type of like thing to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very cool concept.
Very cool.
Interesting.
Very well executed, I thought.
Oh yeah.
I think it was really well done.
What was great is that they didn't go over the top in any way, shape, or form.
No.
It was just each area is completely white object, and then you have the description of the object, and that's really all that's necessary.
Yeah, there
And
wasn't
some creepy
extra
sound effects.
Yeah,
There
I think
were
the
really
creepy
weird
sound effects could have gone. Like, I didn't need that. It was enough just reading that and stuff. I don't know why they did that, but
They did have some audio ones, and I thought that could have been a little more.
yeah, like you
I wish I could hear people in their own voice
tell the
speaking it.
story. That would be
Yeah,
interesting.
if it was an actual person reading it, I'd like to hear their voice a little bit more, because it was all told in my voice.
That would break up the monotony of the reading it over and over and over too.
Yeah.
So like some of them were really like quite like long and detailed. Some of them were super short. And it would just be like a little line and the object, and it makes you wonder, like, what is going on?
One of them
What's
was
this?
like, "This is the first time I saw a penis in the sunshine."
Yeah. And like,
That was the first one I read, and I was
feel like
whoa.
a lot of them were celebratory of relationships. I didn't feel, okay, how did you feel? What's the overall emotion that you got from this type of museum?
Nothing gold can stay. Like that's kind of how I left it. And but that's
the point of the museum. It's not the museum of
Yeah.
happy relationships that last forever.
Yeah. I guess that's like the overall thing that I took from it. Did I take like a happy or sad thing? I thought that like most of it was in the sad realm, like not people being rejoiceful about, having gotten over this. A lot of them were still working it out.
And that's probably why they took the time to get involved.
So a little bit of frustration and sadness and disbelief.
Some of the stories were like, whoa, holy, like,
Yeah.
I am shocked what I'm reading right now.
The little bit of the saturation is that I am just like, whoa, that was a whole bunch of relationships that I just poked my head into for 5 seconds. It's like flipping through the channels on television.
Yeah, it was intense.
But it was way better than almost every museum I've ever been to, because I'm a very personal person of, like, I like interpersonal relationships. I choose, if I listen to something, I listen to dialogue. I like hearing people, like, especially if they're talking back and forth. But I also, this is totally fine, just hearing people talk about
Their stories.
just hearing what's happening to them.
Yeah. So
And it being true.
I guess it took us like 2 hours or hour and a half or something to go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think it was like time well spent. It was
Time and money well spent.
Yeah, very cool.
I left and I was like, I don't even know how much I spent on that, but it's totally worth it. And I thought about eating at the cafe in there because like I want to pump more money into that. But we wanted to make a video. It's nice outside. So sorry we didn't pump more money into your museum, but
here's all the hype we can spill out on the internet.
yeah, well, we're hyping it on the internet. Yeah, that was good, and I wonder if their exhibition is going to be changing or evolving with time.
It says they're only displaying 15% of it at all times, so it's always moving around. And we noticed that some of the pieces were actually they said that they're on exhibition in Tokyo right now.
Yeah.
So this thing travels and it's in different places. So
oh my gosh,
if it comes near your world, like, you should check it out.
You know what's so strange?
Huh.
You know how, like, when you're doing something and you think to yourself, like, no matter where I would be right now, I'd be doing that.
Yeah,
if we were in Tokyo, we'd probably be looking at this exhibition.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
That's weird. Like a portal to where we normally spend time.
There's a really famous sweet shop kind of in the center of town. I guess it's a chain, like, local to the area.
Yeah,
like there's a
it said
few
there's
of them.
multiple locations, so.
And when we came in
found
here, like, there's quite a few people like in here having a sweet. and they do cakes, and they seem to be like, kind of famous for their ice cream.
And I'm kind of in love with cakes right now, so to get me off the cakes is a strong feat. But all the reviews that we read on Google and stuff like that are like, get the ice cream, get the ice cream.
And we found this ice cream in the menu that's like a super berry ice cream, and there was another one that was like a caramel based
super
one.
Berry. This is just cherries, son.
Well, cherries are a berry, right?
One berry.
Cherries are a berry. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, that's true.
So this thing looks pretty gluttonous and ridiculous. So I'm gonna see if I can
cream, almonds, cherries, cherry liqueur.
I'm not even into the ice cream at that
No,
point.
you're not even down there yet. Whoa, whoa, whoa. A whole thing.
But cherries are really, really dark tasting. They must have like, the cherries have got like that liqueur taste. So they must have like, not fermented, but jarred them with like some sort of maybe alcohol or something. Is that, am I crazy? That's what it tastes like. How was the ice cream?
Whoa, you're right about that cherry. I'm drunk. Wow. Ice cream is cold.
Yeah, but it's smooth. It's smooth, it's good. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty damn good ice cream.
I thought that getting the cherry for the ice cream was going to take away from... When I get ice cream, I think about vanilla and chocolate and butterscotch or caramel, and I think about those flavors, and those are rich flavors to me. This is taking cherry to a luxurious place. Where I'm like, okay, it is satisfying that outside of the realm of tastes I can normally have.
And it's an ice cream, not a gelato, like what we had when we were in Italy.
Venice, yeah.
Like in Venice, that was all gelato stuff. I mean, yeah, this is pretty good. And it seemed like it was expensive when we looked at the menu, but it was really like $4.
It was $4?
Yeah, so for something I think that it was like of this caliber, I'm pretty happy.
Very good.
Update on the ice cream price. Turns out I'm bad at math, and this thing was like $6.50.
It means only $2 more.
It is.
It's not the jaw-dropping $4 that it was before, but
yeah, it's a little less tasty, I think.
I wanted to also say that I've been trying to be not more honest. Like, we do tell like honestly how things are, but straight talk. This is showing me flavors I've never even had. I don't know if you could do that to a cherry.
Yeah.
The cherry is like alcoholic.
Eating the cherry by itself is
incredible.
almost too much. You have to mix it with a little bit of ice cream.
No. I like to get into the cherry, have the cherry scare the crap out of me. And then I'm like, oh my god, put some sugar on top of it.
It's kind of like eating the ume plum.
Yeah, it's like, so much like that.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Will they sell this to children?
I hope so.
They're wobbling out of here, knees smacking each other.
Yeah, this is very much an Eric choice on ice cream, and I've been very indecisive, or not indecisive, like just I can't make up my mind about stuff, so I told him just whatever you want to get. If I wasn't here, let's get that. So he said this, and this is very much against my rules on Sundays, but this was really fun. It was a really cool one.
The look and focus?
Yeah. I mean, you're asking a person whose eyesight sucks balls. It looks great. Looks crisp.
The building behind us is an older building that was built like in the early 1900s.
1938.
1938? Yeah, nice. Dropping the numbers?
I'm going to be a backup singer.
Okay,
for this
cool.
one.
And it was originally built as an art museum, and then as the Croatian government swept back and forth between fascism and socialism, it turned into a mosque, and they had built minarets in front of it, and then as it slipped back the other direction, it turned back into an art museum, and I guess now it's an art museum, right?
Friendly to Muslims, and then we just told them to go away.
Yeah, basically. And it's now a functioning art museum. Did I get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Except at nighttime, where it's just a place where all these kids are out and they're just skating.
Being punk rock kids. Like
That wasn't a falsetto.
Being a punk rock kids. This is a falsetto. Is that what that is?
Yeah. So there's all these kids out here and they're just skating and they're wearing like jackets with like punk rock like emblems and things like that.
Is
A
it
kid
leather?
walk-
It's not leather.
no,
it's
like,
like black. What is that black?
Leather.
It's leather.
And like a kid walked by and he had like a Melvin's like sewn on patch. And like they just got, it's like their punk community. These kids are out and they're drunk and they're skating and there's a kid skating around. He's really good. He's got a broken arm though. Like he's got a cast and he's doing like kick flips and stuff like that. And they're just hanging out. I don't know. I thought that was just like a cool little window into a little part of a subculture here that, I mean, I didn't know it existed.
And the cops don't care.
Yeah, that's the other thing. They're out here, they're drunk, they're being goofy, they're not causing trouble, really.
They might be hurting themselves, but
The cops aren't here like chasing them down. And like when I was a kid, if I was hanging out like this in our town, the cops would show up and like bust up the party.
you wouldn't even be hanging out. Like,
No.
we were geocaching in an elderly community and the cops came.
When we were like 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's just cool to see that in this city that is, you know, fairly large, the cops aren't just over here like pushing the kids around and, oh, get out of here, go home, da 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 da. They're just like letting them just be and they're just doing their thing.
And they're getting to flourish in a way that is, I'm jealous.
They're doing their socializing. Yeah, I'm a little jealous too. I'm a little jealous of what these kids have right now. Would you like to making fuck berserker? We hope you enjoyed our first video from Zagreb and Croatia. Thanks to all our supporters at Patreon for helping us make these videos. Also, thanks everyone for liking and commenting on the videos. It helps our channel grow. More from Zagreb is on the way, followed by a road trip out to eastern Croatia and then even more along the coast. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything.